morning, Mustangs. It's Wednesday, October 26th, and I'm Catherine in Alpasan. In the headlines, the 8th graders got a chance to fly. A look into AP Human Geography and their work. Wednesday at work with Mr. Proctor. How to order MSA biscuits ahead of time. And FSA's Chamonix Society's trip to Deer Lake Village. But first, it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for our top story. The 8th grade students recently went on an immersive field trip to iFly, an indoor skydiving facility. They got a chance to fly. Here's Varsha Sayana with more detailed student experience.
8th grade students defied gravity with a field trip to iFly. This outing is a perfect example of blending the environment and STEM careers. Here's what middle school counselor Ms. Joya Huff had to say about her overall experience of the trip.
They did different experiments, so they'd ask the kids what would happen if they poured water into the tube and different things like that. So it was super interactive. They were engaged, I felt like 100% of the time.
Students and chaperones got a chance to fly as they suit up and jumped in the vertical wind tunnel designed to support and enhance STEM learning in the classroom. In the tunnel, students were able to conduct an experiment that involved physics and algebra. They compared, predicted, and measured wind tunnel speeds, a lesson that students had just learned in their physics classes. They were able to use algebraic thinking to understand proportional relationships. 8th grade science teacher Mr. Yasin Parlak made these comments about the skills students gained with this activity.
The good part of that field trip was there are like different sections, so the students actually built their airplanes using like paper planes, and I think that was like good teamwork, and they did kind of like application of understanding aerodynamics and what are the like forces acting on a plane.
In the end, students were able to let loose and soar into a world of science, achieving new heights. For Mustang News, I'm Varsha Sayana.
FSA's AP Human Geography class created city models complete with roads, skyscrapers, and parks. With a variety of layouts, each student's project was unique and very creative. From 3D models to online blueprints, let's take a look at the different cities these students created. Wednesday at work. From being a student back in 8th grade to now a faculty member, Mr. Josh Proctor is a true Mustang. This week's Wednesday at work meets up with Mr. Proctor. Here's Mustang News reporter Isabel Liu for a close-up.
It's a pretty well-known fact that some of the teachers at FSA were once students here as well. Joshua Proctor, aka Mr. Proctor, is FSA's always positive, accelerated pre-calculus and AP research teacher, and a prior high school student at FSA. As a student, there's always tests and exams to look forward to. Despite this, Mr. Proctor looks fondly at his days as a student in FSA and treats students as friends instead of just students.
I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I know from FSA, and it seems like that sort of trend with FSA has continued, where even people that don't go here anymore are still friends with people that do still go here, and they stay friends afterwards. So I enjoyed all of that. Didn't enjoy every class, didn't enjoy every part of it.
As a prior student, Mr. Proctor connects well with the students by knowing what their likes and common interests are. He often participates in staff and student sports activities and offers up his skills on the drums, even when playing in band with some of FSA's very own students. In the past few years, Mr. Proctor has also taught many other subjects in addition to pre-calculus and AP research, such as AP Psychology and Calculus, providing him with even more ways to connect with the student body. Mr. Proctor remains a favorite amongst the staff and the students.
I mean, I know a lot of the stuff that y'all are interested in. Not that every FSA student is the same, but it's a good bet that if I make an anime reference in an FSA class that people are going to understand it. It's a good bet that if I make a joke about Science Olympiad, people are going to understand it. So a lot of those same things that were like that when I went there, where everyone was a little nerdy, even if they didn't want to be, all that stuff is still there. And so I remember all that.
Mr. Proctor returned to teach at FSA not only because it was the best offer he was given, but also because the familiarity of FSA to him was like a second home.
On top of that, though, I knew that if I were coming here, I'd get to work with people where about half the people I worked with I would actually know beforehand. Also, I knew that I'd be working with people who had previously been my teachers and now would be coworkers. Ms. Rogers taught me. I knew Mr. Craig from before. I knew Mr. Karp from before. Mr. Parlak had been my teacher. A lot of the administration I knew from past years. So the idea of teaching where a lot of the people already knew who I was and had a good relationship with me, that sounded like a great way to get started.
We hope that in the future, students retain their happy experiences at FSA just like how Mr. Proctor did. And remember that FSA will always accept them with open arms. Don't forget to check out Mr. Proctor's punk album if you have time. And from Mustang News, I'm Isabel Liu.
As we shift the spotlight to FSA's core values, which spells I care, this month we look at the A, which stands for advocacy. Advocacy focuses on active engagement within our communities, creates awareness and appreciation for diverse cultures, and values the service of others in a pursuit of a more equitable world. Now for a look at the weather. Make sure you have your rain jackets on standby, with cloudy skies with a high in the 60s and a lows in the 40s. You never know when you could get a sprinkle or two. As for tomorrow, expect the highs in the lower 70s and the lows in the 50s. Quote of the day. He has modernized science and revolutionized our understanding of space, time, and the universe as a whole. Today, our quote of the day is by Albert Einstein. He says, "You never fail until you stop trying." It's time for Joke of the Day. Why couldn't the pony sing? Because it was a little hoarse. MSA biscuit sales have been going through the roof, with the group selling out in a record time on Fridays. MSA has implemented a new process for pre-ordering, which will now require students to pay online. Just scan the QR code found in the various school newsletters to access the link. Pre-orders will now only be accepted between Saturdays at noon and Wednesdays at noon. You must complete your order and payment no later than Wednesday. Orders after that time will not be processed. FSA's Astronomy Society took some time to gaze at Deer Lake Astronomy Village, an isolated forest area in Crawfordville, Georgia. Here's Varun Sayana on location with more.
Bundled up for a crisp fall night, FSA's astronomy group members were ready to take on constellations. It was a team-building trip like no other at Deer Lake Astronomy Village. Under the night sky's darkness, it was time to capture some fantastic shots of a bespectacled sky like no other. One of the main reasons for this location is because it's known for awesome stargazing due to its distance from city lights and nicknamed the darkest end of the South. Located in Taliaferro County, Georgia, it is the second least populous county east of the Mississippi River, with fewer than 1,700 people. The team settled in for the celestial viewing after pitching their tents, which was a teamwork effort. After a night of stargazing, the team broke down their campsite and packed up the equipment.
After a long and fun night of astrophotography comes to an end, we're beginning to pack things up right now and make breakfast and really just conclude our night as a whole.
But before they hit the road, they enjoyed a delicious breakfast cooked by Doctor, or was it Chef Amadolu?
Reporting on location for Mustang News, I'm Varun Sayana.
Mustang Matters. In this episode, Mustang Matters gives a shout out to the elementary aftercare staff. Thank you for making sure students are able to get home efficiently and safely. Stay safe and healthy, Mustangs, and don't forget to subscribe to FSA's YouTube channel and check the various school newsletters for updates on various events and activities. I am Catherine Anathasan, reminding you that when we, you, and I care, we are always #stronger together.